Hello lovely Capricorns, and thank you very much for getting involved. My name is Gordon and we're looking at the astrology trends for the 3rd of March through to the 9th of March. And if you're new to the channel and you have just tuned in, then you can get it. It's an interactive channel. I like to get interactive with people. I like to answer your emails, leave messages on the on the videos, and you can get in contact with me obviously on the website here, and also the direct on the email, but also on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook, Gordon Robert Spirit Medium. That's absolutely fabulous. Love to have your friendship. And I said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please do, because that enables you to get the weekly updates without having to search for your astrology on YouTube. Right, so what does the week hold for you? What is the trends for you, lovely Capricorn? Right, well, the first the first thing we're going to look at here is the full moon. It's one of your sister signs. The full moon is in is in Virgo, and it's up there in your lovely in your 9th house. Now, the full moon, there is another. This is I have to explain if you've just joined. This video is one of 13 I produce every week. So if you go to the top of the list, you'll see the overall trends for the week. If it's a rising sign Capricorn or sun sign Capricorn, then this applies to you Capricorns. But also there is another playlist. If you look for the playlist, which is Astrology Learning and Sharing on my site, on the channel here, that will also talk to you about moon astrology, new moon astrology. So I'm not going to go into it in too much depth here. But we have full moon coming up. And this full moon is in Virgo. Now, full moons are very quick. The moon transits 29 days, and in essence, when the new moon comes, you want to bring in new ideas and expand as it waxes, and it reaches its peak, which is the full moon, and then it wanes. And in a waning moon, you need to get rid of things that are no longer working for you, looking at trimming, and it's still a productive time, but it's best to hold the new ideas to the waxing phase. Now, when we come into a full moon in Virgo, Virgo is can be a very critical sign. It tends to turn things over. It tends to look at things in a huge amount of detail. And as we look at that, don't forget, it's a sun moon opposition. That's what creates the full moon. And the sun is obviously in your 3rd house, which is to do with communication. Your moon is in the 9th house, which is also communication, but it's the house of higher learning. It's the house of travel, and it is the house of religion as well. So it's quite a deep house. Now, when the full moon comes in there, what it does, it creates a spotlight of peakness, for want of a better word. So it's going to look, the full moon will look at that area of your life, and it'll look at each area once, obviously, over the 12 months. But as it looks at that area, it's going to get you thinking about where you are at this moment in time. How are you communicating with people? But also, it can also look at travel for you as well, and it will highlight whether you are happy where you are. Now, this can be where you are in life as far as education is concerned. So do you want to change work? Do you want to change vocation? But also looking at location. It's simple, just in simplistic terms, it can mean you go and book a holiday. In more deeper terms, it can also mean you looking at moving. It can make you look at long distance travel as opposed to the short distance travel. Should I move closer to work? Should I move abroad? And it makes you really look at life, not so much life, the universe and everything, but certainly it gives a spotlight on your current location, as well as your location in life, as well as your location where you are actually on the earth plane. Right. The other interesting thing that comes in here is we see that Aries becomes very active. Now, this is going to continue. Now, Aries is in your 4th house, and your ruling planet is, as you know, is Saturn, and that's sat in the 12th house. You have activation in the 4th house there. Now the 4th house is being activated by Mars and it's being activated by Venus. They're two very quite powerful planets, and you know, for some of you Capricorns, especially, you know, late Capricorns, that would have the association towards, you know, have association out. Some of the late Capricorns, you're going to find that this is going to create an unsteadiness around you with regard to perhaps house moving, your own energy. You're going to be looking at your own energy and saying, look, you know, I'm always drawn this way, but I'm being forced to go the other way. You know, and when this collides with Uranus, as it does, it can make for some wacky ideas. It can make for some, you know, I wouldn't say getting angry, but it certainly can make for you to say, right, I've had enough of this. I want to move on. I want to get going. I want to change the whole scenario. Pluto sits in your 1st house, remember, and Pluto and Uranus, the 1st house and 4th house. 1st house is to do with you, yourself, how you view yourself, about you being in control. The 4th house is to do with your roots, it's to do with your home, it's to do with your energy that comes from Mother Earth. Now, when Mars and Venus are passing through that 4th house, they're going to give you drive, they're going to give you passion. But it's in what they call a square, it's a challenging aspect to yourself. So anything that you've suppressed beneath the surface, anything that you've wanted to do but have been perhaps blocked, are now going to start to come out, and it's going to express itself in a way that you suddenly maybe start writing applications, you start making, you know, writing out visa applications, that sort of thing, because you suddenly think, I'm really dissatisfied where I am. You start phoning estate agents, you want to move, you start writing out your CV because you want to change your job, and this, you know, is supported by Mercury, which again, you know, is one of your very close, one of your close planets. And when you look at that, you know, the whole of Capricorn becomes agitated by this, but supported at the same time. Now, where is this support? The support comes from the inner you. The support comes from your 8th house. Now, in the 8th house is Jupiter, so it's saying the time isn't quite ready yet, you know, because you've got Jupiter in there. You've got to wait for Jupiter to start moving forward, retrograde. You've got Saturn in your 12th house, so it's what's on your mind, it's what's deep inside you. It's this deep urge, yearning for change, and this need for change, frustration around you with change. You can find necessarily perhaps, be careful who you talk to this week, because you could be getting into arguments this week simply because you know that change is around you, and change is going to happen with you this year, Capricorn. It's a, you know, it's a great year for you. It's a great year for you, but there's a time and a place. And as these energies come in, they come in really, what I call is brilliant. Is it comes in on a square, which is a challenge, but the challenge turns to a flow because you go from the square to what they call a trine. So, you know, you've almost got the thought, how am I going to overcome? And there is a way to overcome. So start writing your ideas down. Start putting on paper where you plan to be, what you plan to do. Don't ignore it. There would have been setbacks, I feel, quite strongly. Things you wanted to get done that, you know, because you've got the Sun in the 3rd house. The Sun in the 3rd house in Neptune is to do with communications. Communications perhaps being a little bit fuzzy, but they're all for a reason. So if you've been turned down or rejected on something, or something's not turned out necessarily as you thought it would do, it's to create the environment, to create the push to get things to happen. It's an embryonic week for you lovely Capricorns, quite an important week, and thank you so much for getting involved. And if you wish to get interactive, please do either write questions or bits and pieces on the channel there, on the bottom of the page, or of course you can subscribe to the channel and get the next weekly update when I send it out next week. And thank you very, very much for getting involved, and have a great, fantastic week. Thank you so much, Capricorn.